Okay, we shall begin. All right, so guys, my name is Raza. I am a technical consultant for ANZ. So today's webinar is essentially the complete value chain. So the end-to-end solution provided to you by obviously APS, Eplan, and Retail. Let's go through some confidentiality, exclusion of liability. I'll give you guys a couple of seconds, just go through this, and then we'll proceed to the agenda. Okay, agenda. So we will start by talking about Retail and APS Application Center, what that is, followed by the challenges faced by the panel builders and switchgear manufacturers in this day and age. Then moving from there, we're going to talk about how you can go on to create a digital twin, and then from that, get a real control cabinet ready for yourself. Of course, with the help of APS, Retail, and Eplan. Moving from that point, we're going to talk a bit about Eplan, Retail, what that is, like what the software comprises of, and what the automation systems or solutions that Retail has to offer. After that, we're going to have a live demonstration, followed by a Q&A session. And last but not least, we're going to talk about how to get in touch with us. One quick note here. The session will be recorded. So if in case someone has to leave, they have something or somewhere else to be, by all means, it will be recorded. It will be sent to you guys. And the second thing is, for questions, please put them in the Q&A section. We will get to it at the end. Okay, perfect. So starting off, what exactly is the application center, which Retail AU as well as APS have? The idea behind that is to showcase basically an end-to-end solution for all of the users. Not just to show or experience, but actually have that in action. So if you guys are, let's say, using Eplan or anything, you can come to us and we can have an entire system ready for you. This obviously would be much, much, much better if in case you actually do visit us and get a chance to see this in action, which is why I have actually written down the address as well for Retail AU, as well as the APS branch there. So by all means, come reach out to us. We can show you a live demonstration, how everything sort of comes together. Today's session itself is in a way showcasing that, but in a virtual environment, obviously in a digital environment. Of course, it makes more sense when you're in person, on the floor, on the shop floor, or in front of the engineering computer where you design something, you send it off just like that to the machining section, and then everything is done and dusted in front of you. Okay, now, as mentioned, the entire reason or the entire point why we thought of this, the application center as a whole, was because we started noticing a trend in obviously the panel building industry as well as the switchgear manufacturers. The numerous challenges that, of course, you guys face, ranging from increasing cost for resources and components, shortage of skilled labor, we got long delivery times, and of course, production inefficiencies. This is something I'm sure all of you guys can obviously refer to or feel that you've been through this. Your company, your organization has been through this. I'm sure we have as well. So this brought us to ask ourselves the question. So taking this in a perspective way, in the past, we would ask, okay, which product does the customer need? And we would supply that. Today, we're asking ourselves, how can we optimize customer processes, which is good, but it's not there yet. From this point onwards, we need to start asking ourselves how to optimize the data consistency along the process so that we all stay ahead of the competition. We don't want to be the same fish swimming in the same direction with the rest of the school of fishes. We want to be that outlier, someone who goes above and beyond for our customer. And I'm sure you guys feel the same way. So when we do talk about the data optimization, we need to think of this from a sense of, okay, there are two sections to it. There's obviously the physical section and there is the engineering or the digital section. This loop right in front of you, you guys can see sort of how everything comes together. In the right loop, you can see how from obviously order placement, then work preparations, flat part processing, assembly, cable manufacturing, and so on. And on the left-hand side, you can see another one where service configuration, PDM structuring, ERP, mechanics, engineering, cable harnessing, and so on. It all comes together in the middle section there. This, if you could imagine this is a Venn diagram, it all comes together in that small section there, where if both the processes are done correctly, are done efficiently, you have something that is, let's say, exceptional, something that stands above and beyond the rest. Now, when we talk about these processes, let's streamline this a bit. We talk about engineering, quotations, order, mechanical processing, assembly, and customer delivery and services. On the bottom side, on the bottom section of the slide, you're seeing some binary codes there, 01, 001, 100, etc. That's just representation of the data collection. Through each and every single process, whether it is a physical just orders and deliveries, or mechanical processing, or it's engineering, quotations and offers, at every point in time of this process, you're collecting more and more data for yourself. We want to be able to collect that data and actually make the most of it. Keep it with us. Not only so that we can analyze it for now, but at the same time for future as well. So let's start with the digital workflow or creating a digital twin first of a control cabinet. As an example, we'll just take a control cabinet. If we're looking at this from a point of view of Eplan first, Eplan, of course, has a huge portfolio with a bunch of different solutions for all of your requirements, all of the industries, etc. Today, we're going to mainly talk about electric P8 and Pro Panel, but there's a lot more solutions that you can see on your screen at the moment. Automated engineering, Eplan pre-planning, fluid, harness, cable, etc. And all of this comes under the umbrella for Eplan Cloud that sort of holds them all together. At the same time, we also see that small circular one, Eplan Data Portal, which holds on to a bunch of parts for you. Over 2 million as we speak, and from over 400 different manufacturers. So how does it all come together? Using the portfolio that Eplan has to offer, you start off with the schematic side using electric P8. You're done with that. You move on to the 3D aspect of it, the 3D control cabinet layout. This is using Pro Panel. Now, at any point in this journey or any point in this process, if you feel like you need a part, you need a device to be used, whether on the 2D side or the 3D side, like I said, you can always go to the data portal and find a bunch of parts from there. Rittal enclosures, you will find the entire library there. And a bunch of other manufacturers. Like I said, over 400 different manufacturers all together have provided up to or over, in fact, 2 million parts, and it's always increasing. It's not stagnant there. It's always being topped up and reviewed. All the parts that are already there are being reviewed as well. Moving forward. Now, Rittal doesn't only offer automation solution in machine forms, they also have quite useful tools as well in software side. One of which is Repanel. What this allows you to do is it allows you to take on, let's say you made a selection of a particular enclosure. You pick it up. Now you can of course buy it off the shelf, but what if you wanna configure this, customize this? In that case scenario, you're going to maybe, let's say I wanna add some accessories to it. I wanna add some cutouts to it. For sure, you can do that using Repanel directly. Not only that, once you've done that, you can place an order directly with Rittal or APS there. But at the same time, what you can also do is you can bring that model back inside Eplan and start using it there. We're going to see this workflow directly inside the live demonstration. Don't worry about that. Rittal obviously does offer some other, a lot of other solutions as well. All of them are really relevant. I would encourage you guys to explore all of them, including Reterm as well, Repower, etc. Okay, so moving forward now from the digital twin to the real control cabinet. So you have created a 3D model, you've done the engineering work all in Eplan. What's next for you? Eplan will give you an output in this format. You can then start looking at the enclosure. You can start looking at the drilling patterns there for the mechanical processing. You can start looking at every single individual, maybe the bus bar, the mounting rails, the wire ducts, cutouts, lengths, etc. for your variable length components. Moving forward, you can start looking at all of the devices that are placed in the exact locations for assembly. And last but not least, Eplan is also outputting out all of your wiring connections as well. There are some tools that we're going to talk about in a bit, but all of this in simple processes is being given to you. And now if you can imagine, someone on the work floor or shop floor can easily start making all of these from a digital point to reality. Now, those processes that we talked about earlier can all be automated using Rittal automation systems. Now, starting from the left-hand side, we have StickerX, that is for your cutouts, for your mounting rails, wire ducts, etc. Then we have the PerforeX machine for your milling, tapping, drilling, etc. That is something that we're going to talk about extensively a bit today. We're going to even see the interface of that one. Moving forward, we have the wire terminal. Once you have created your engineering drawings, you've provided, so for instance, you've placed device A, device B, made a connection between them using a specific connection, part number, color, cross-section diameter. This wire terminal will just start cutting, bundling everything for you automatically. Something that might take your person 1, 2, 3, 7, 10, 20 hours could be done in a matter of minutes. We also have the whole flex punch machine as well, whole cut flex punch. That's for your bus bars, bending, twisting, etc. And last but not least, the wire station, where you can utilize something called the smart production collection on a monitor and then start making the connection or the wires, cutting them out in their appropriate lengths, etc. We're going to talk about that, like I said, in a bit. Now, if we look at this, the way that it all sort of comes together, today we're just going to be looking at the left section of this. Once we have created the schematic, then we go on to, let's say, create an enclosure for ourselves, place all the devices in, make the connections and routes, all done. We upload that directly to the cloud, from which we can create a job and send it straight to our PerforeX machine. We're going to see that all in action, and I'm going to show you how fast and easy it is. Just to talk about the PerforeX itself. Now, as I said, today's webinar is focused on the cutouts on an enclosure. So we're going to be using something called the PerforeX MT machine. This is actually there in APS Mod Center as well as Rittal Mod Center. And by all means, like I said earlier, I encourage you guys to go have a look for yourself as well, how fast and convenient and easy it is to use as well. So what does it do? It's fully automated way of drilling, tapping, milling, etc. for panels and closures. Extremely easy to use and a whole lot faster. Initially, you might go like, oh, it's expensive. It's an expensive machine, but think about it from a long-term point of view. It's not, you don't buy these things just to discard them off in a year or 2 years. No, you keep them for 10 years, 20 years. But like literally within a few years, you're going to start seeing how it just paid for itself. Something that might take an individual person or a bunch of people 7 hours, this machine can get that stuff done within 1 hour. Okay. Now, this is the Smart Production Collection, or one of the components of the Smart Production Collection, Smart Mounting. So what this allows you to do is, from ProPanel, you export this out to Smart Mounting, where step-by-step guide is given to you on how to basically install the individual components on your enclosure. You can use this in a tablet on the shop floor. Someone can literally be just looking at it. You can see a small screen there. That's how it actually looks like. You have a 3D display on the right-hand side and a list coming in. Now, this is something that we're going to maybe talk about another time, not today, but again, really useful tool. Similar to this, we also have smart wiring. Once again, similar concept. Export your Pro Panel project out, and then within here, you can basically start seeing your entire connections, all your connections list, source, target, length of the connection itself, direction. What you're seeing on the screen there is exactly how it looks like, and it's extremely easy to use. Extremely easy to use. You can even see the progress up on top side as well, and that can be monitored by the manager or anyone who needs to basically see how much of a particular enclosure is done, wired up, mounted, etc. Okay, so from engineering to production, the end-to-end, how it all comes together in a nutshell. You start off from your 2D and 3D, of course, using data portal to just start importing and using devices. Once you're done, you have a digital twin ready. Now, using Rital, let's say Repanel, you can configure and bring in one of those enclosures to be used in 3D. Okay. And of course, when you're using that in a 3D side, you can push that exact same model with cutouts and accessories for your servicing requirements, etc. And at the same time, documentation can also be collected. Another one of the solutions from Rital, ePocket, where you can store all of your digital information regarding that enclosure in that location up in the cloud. What that means is for servicing, maintenance, etc., everything is digitalized instead of having those huge bulks of papers of your schematics and maintenance sheet, etc. Everything can be stored online in the cloud, accessible to anyone who you deem that they might need to use it. So you provide the rights and they can access it. Moving from there, of course, all the cutting and drilling and tapping, etc., can all be done using Rital automation solutions. And last but not least, when we talk about installation, we can utilize go back basic to Eplan and utilize the smart mounting, smart wiring to finalize the product. That in itself is a whole nutshell and the end-to-end solution and how this value chain altogether comes together. Okay, live demonstration. Let us go to Eplan. For those of you who have seen Eplan, great. You should be familiar with this thing. For those of you who haven't, this is what Eplan looks like. One quick note, you can see my background is dark. You can make this light as well if you want, whatever your preference is. Now, as I said, engineering-wise, it all starts from your schematic. Let's say I have completed my schematic here. This is my schematic. I have finished my schematics, placed my devices. I have gone as far as providing my individual connections with the color, cross-section diameter, and connection numbering. Everything is now being registered by the project. My project, the moment I place something, the moment I add any property to it, my project is registering that. It's keeping a track of all of that. Moving forward, let's move on to the Pro Panel side. So for that, we need to have a layout space, a 3D layout space. You can see that X, Y, and Z coordinates. Before that, we just had X, Y. Now we're working in a 3D format. Okay, I need to bring an enclosure out. However, in saying that, I want to customize that before I bring it out. So let's go explore our data portal. So I can open the data portal in my platform or as a web browser as well. Same thing. One thing you will note immediately, the moment it opens up without any filters, I'm going to have over 2 million parts being recorded. So give it a second. Let it load up. Now, one quick thing here while this is loading up. Of course, all of this is assuming that you have internet connection because you are grabbing this from the cloud. If you have unstable or bad internet connection, you can expect it to be a slower process. Okay, you can see right off the bat, without any filters, I got 2 million parts in there with a bunch of manufacturers that you can shortlist from. Like I said, over 400 different manufacturers can be found here. Okay. For me, at the moment, I will be looking at, I'm just going to call out this specific enclosure. Let's say I know which enclosure I need to use from Ritzel. I need this one. I'm going to make a search for it and let it load up. Perfect. This one here. I can see some details here. If I want, I can go inside this and have a look. But I know that I need to use this 136.0.55.0.500. So I'm going to, instead of directly importing it, I can import and just use it off the shelf. I'm going to configure this. I want to configure this to my requirements. So in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this panel out as a flyout, so I have a bigger space to work with. So this is a Ritzel tool that I was talking about, Repanel. I can access it directly from Eplan. Perfect. So this is the one that I need to use. This is the enclosure. I can check some details here. This is my configuration. I can rotate this, move this around. Yep, that's the one I need. Let's go next. Let us now configure this. And when I say configure, accessories, cutouts, etc. Okay, so I wish to add hinges, 180-degree hinges, add. And the moment I add this updates and it actually starts showing. I want to add a comfort handle. And now it's going to show that. I wish to add a wall mounting. Let's add. So these are the, let's say, the accessories that I want to add. This is all coming in from Ritzel. They've uploaded the entire library database onto our Eplan cloud. Okay, so now I have all of the accessories that I feel like I want to use. Let's go next. Next step is, so earlier what we were saying were top accessories to be used or used more commonly by customers. Now we're going into all the available accessories that we can potentially use. In my case, I don't want to use any more. I'm happy with this. Let's go next. Next step, we're going to be talking about cutouts and drilled holes. Directly from Repanel, I can start adding cutouts and drilled holes. It's first of all asking, okay, what's the modification area? Let's say I need this on the front door. I'm going to select the front door. It's going to go perpendicular to that front door. And now it's asking, okay, what type? I could just say rectangle. You can note one thing here. For that comfort handle that you saw here, this area is restricted. I can't go and create anything here. It's telling me that nope, that area is already restricted. There is a cutout there. You cannot add a new one. So in this case scenario, I can basically, let's say maybe I want one down here. Positioning, bottom left, centered, etc. I can provide it with some width, let's say maybe 60, height maybe 40. Any corner radiuses, etc. You can provide any and all details. Once you're happy with this, save change. It's going to add this cutout now on my enclosure. So I have added some accessories. I've added one cutout there as well, which you can see in my configuration preview. I'm happy with this. Let's go next. Now it's going to show me my final configuration, which I can even increase the lot and order. I can save them, I can order them, etc. I'm seeing my entire, so this is the enclosure that I'm ordering, system accessories that I'm getting alongside it. I'm also, at the same time, I can see the cutouts as well as the certification that comes along with it. All of these details are coming along. Once I'm happy with this, I can finalize. This is where things get interesting. So what I can do is, I have 4 options here. Get configuration ID, so I can come back to it, maybe customize it further, etc. Basically saving it in that instance. Get the parts list. go straight to Eplan Cloud, panel processing center. This is when, if you're happy with this configuration, you send it straight to Perforex. But for us, we want to take it back to ProPanel. We wish to make some more changes to it at our devices. So I'm going to say back to ProPanel. From here, it's going to start preparing this directly into an Eplan ProPanel file format so that we can directly just bring it in and start using it. Okay, it's going to start generating this now. Of course, the time that it takes to process this may be dependent on how many accessories, how many components, the size of the enclosure, etc. And last but not least, your internet speed. So let's hope it doesn't take too long here. Okay, perfect. I can import this, save this in my database, or I can say place device. This is the configuration. I can choose the import style as well, update existing, add new parts database, etc., and hit OK. It's going to start downloading that. And once the download is completed, it's going to stick it to my cursor. There we go. Directly from the data portal, I made the configuration and I brought it here. Now, the interesting part is you will note that all of these accessories, every single thing that I configured and customized is coming along here to be used. And this, in fact, is a 3D model. If I have maybe, let's say, a 3D mouse, I can easily just move around as well. Or I can use this cube, or I can still use any saved viewpoints. Okay, now I also know that I have my schematics done and I have my 3D model. I need to start adding my devices in. So let's go open up a navigator for 3D mounting panel. And we can start adding devices in. But wait, before that, I can't just start adding devices here. What I need to be able to do is I need to start placing my mounting rails and wire ducts, of course. So before I drag any device out, let's do one thing. Let us show only the mounting panel. Go front and start placing in my wire ducts. This is my local database. It's showing me a list of what I have at the moment. Of course, you can have way more than this, up to you. But at the moment, this is what I have. So I'm happy with that. And now on this plane surface, let's say we're still working with 3 dimensions, but at the moment, anywhere I go, you will know that my Z axis is 0. So I can start deciding, okay, I want to start placing this maybe from 0 space 100 space 0. So in X direction, 0, Y is 100, Z is 0 as well. Hit enter. You can see now I can just drag it along. However, you'll note that it's going outside the bounds. Simply by pressing the A key, I can cycle between the different variants. All right. Now I know the length needs to be 400. I simply type 400, 400, hit enter. And there we go. Perfect. Let's start with the bottom side here. It automatically snaps on. Press A. And maybe I can say that it could be length 490. 490. Hit enter. I can start from this side now. Press A and bring it up until, in fact, I can even snap onto this point here. So how much was it? 400 length. So we'll just type in 400, 4400. Perfect. And last but not least, simply end to end. Now, another interesting thing I want to show you. At the moment, I have U17 and 15. I know that my next wire duct needs to be the same length as these guys and dead center. instead of trying to calculate the length, the midpoint between this and dragging it out, etc., I can simply say adopt length. And now the length has been adopted. One more thing. I need to place the dead center, right? Right click, place centered, select the opposite one. It automatically places it for me. These same functionalities can be used for your mounting rails as well. So I'll show that now. I have just one mounting rail. Let's use that. I know that the length is U15. Right click on U15, adopt length. Okay, I know that it's meant to be placed dead center between U18 and 15. Place centered, done. Same thing here, adopt length. Then place centered, done. Just for the sake of it, I will add one more that goes vertical. Okay. And just to prove to you that this is in fact 3D, there we go. So these are 3D models for our wire ducts and mounting rails. Now that we have this saved, let's start adding our devices. So any device you want to place, you can simply drag it out. So these devices, like I said, they have been registered. They are registered by my project. They're there. You can see this one, F2. That's the same one that I'm bringing out. Simply drag it out. It automatically snaps onto my mounting rail, whether it's horizontal or vertical. It automatically snaps on. So you can start placing these devices in. The moment I place it, I get a green tick. Yep, good job, you placed it. If I try to place it out again, it gives me a warning that this has already been placed. Do you want to continue? No, I don't want to continue. Another thing, you can multi-select, drag it out, and if I click now, it places them directly. Maybe I wish to place some extra stuff. What can I place? My terminals. Terminal strips. Yep. So let's drag all of them out. It's saying no part of the terminal strip X2 has been placed. You want to place them completely? Yep. So the moment I place one, it automatically places all of them. Okay. Let's see what else is left. Q3. Let's add Q3 as well. That's fine. And yeah, once you're done with this, all you got to do is just box select, edit, one click. And now what you will see is everything got routed automatically. In fact, in 3D format, using the same connections that I provided here. Same connections that I provided here. All of this is coming in because when you're working on the engineering side, you're adding all of these details. Project is registering all of this. Beyond that, it's just a matter of representing it in a 3D side. Once you're done with this, let's say we go back and okay, we still have a few things left, the switches. So let's go show just the door. Show me just the door. Go front facing. And let's grab these switches out. Okay, so what I could potentially do is maybe just drag them all out. Now, another interesting thing. I wish to say, give them a 60 mils centered distance before placing. I can say, okay, 60 mils centered from left to right. So the moment I place this here, you can see the distance coming in. Now, another interesting thing here that I want to show you, the moment you start placing these devices, of course, yeah, I have the cutout here manually that I placed it using repanel. What about devices? The moment you place a device that has a drilling pattern behind it, it actually gets registered. You see this red circle here? That is the cutout. You're seeing the cutouts for all of these individual devices. It's all getting registered automatically for you, which you can then push it out directly to Perfect's machine. Okay, so just to quickly show you one thing, let's add the model view here. So once you're happy with this, you can grab the model view then. So let's say from here to here, I can define that I'm looking at this layout space and I wish to grab the mounting panel. So mounting panel, let's see which one is the mounting panel. Floor inside, mounting surface. Oh, that's the door. So maybe yeah, door is better so that I can show you one thing. This is the door that it's showing. I can call this out, maybe let's say isometric view. You can customize this. I can say that, okay, I want to show this in a shaded view. All of this can be customized for yourself. I can choose to say, okay, maybe that's just the door this way. In fact, this front view, we could say the front view for the door in shaded way. That's fine. I also want a drilling pattern out of this. Let's grab this and let's select our drilling. Housing and mounting surface, door outside. And that is our drilling pattern for the door. In fact, I can go one step beyond this. I can even automatically dimension this. You can see the dimensioning coming in as well. All of this is coming in because we have already created a background. We've provided the background information to our model. This is where the digital twin comes into play. Now, once I'm happy with this, I'm done with all of this. Let's do one thing. Let us export this out. So file, export. Give it a second to load up. So the next plan is I'm going to export this guy out and send it off to the cloud. So machining and processing. So let's say we are going to send it maybe, where are we sending it here? Let's send it on the desktop. Yep, that's fine. And the target file name would be PS webinar. Okay, and let's send. Once that's done, I've sent the file out. Let us now go to the browser. This is Google Chrome, the browser. What I'm going to do here is I have my organization. I can go to my job management. And with this job management, I can create a job. So production order, resource management, you got quite a bunch of things here. So let's create a new job. I'm going to import the file that I just sent out on my desktop. So let's go to desktop and there we go, APS webinar. I'm importing that exact automation ML file. It's telling me, okay, so we're importing all of these details, the door, housing, etc. There are some errors here because within my Eplan, I didn't provide the thickness or the material. So it's telling me that these guys need a thickness. I could have this as, 1.20. I could have this as, 1.5. I could have this as 1.0. I can define the material. What material are we talking about? Because all of this information is relevant for the Perforex to work or the Perforex to function. Let's import. The moment I import, it's even grabbing the name of my project. Order number, I can just say, APS _1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can add a description. You can even define a customer, whatever customer that you want. That, okay, this is related for, this is for the customer, this one. You can define the due date. It tells you what mechanical stuff is being inputted and what wiring stuff is being inputted. Wiring side of stuff as well as mechanical side. Once you're happy, save this. Production order created successfully. Now we need to define. Okay, so for the milling and threading, these are the 3 different elements that require this. I will assign that to my virtual Perforex. For cutting, I will assign that to a manual workplace. So manually done, there's a section. This can all be configured inside the shop floor board as well as resource management. Once I'm happy with this, I've defined that, okay, this is RK stands for my initials, Raza Khalil. So once I'm happy with this, I don't need to select. You can split the job as well. Assuming you have 2 Perforex machines, you can split the job on one and the other one. That's why you have the split button here. But once you're happy with this, send job. And now we are going to, so we've successfully created this job. At the same time, for the manual workplace, what it's doing is it is sending this details here. So we would save this, and in fact, we can open this just for us to have a look. Cutting instructions, wire, duct, article number, dimensions, length. This is all coming in automatically. I didn't do this. I just laid my 3-dimensional stuff out. Everything is being cut out automatically for me. All of this. Okay. Now that we have the job created, let's finally go inside. So assuming that I have my Perforex machine in my workflow, I've created the job. I just walk straight to my Perforex machine, log in. So let me just log in here. Oops. I need to just check my credentials, please. Okay. Give me a second. Let me do one thing. Give me one moment. Sorry. Okay. Where are you? Okay. Sorry about that. Looks like a good sign. So the idea behind this, what I'm showing you is, this is the interface that you're going to see when you walk up to the Perforex machine. This is the Perforex machine. You're going to see the interface soon enough on that, let's say, the monitor next to it. So this is exactly what we just created at this time. You can see that. Can open that up, and I can even see that, okay, this is the mounting plate. This is the door. This is exactly what we just created. I sent it to the machine just like that. Now it's all a matter of just going to, let's say, setup. So I want to go to setup. This is the door. You can define what's the origin point, what's the rotation, material being used, thickness. And of course, from that point onwards, you can proceed forward and start the work. And with that, I do conclude my demonstration there. Yeah. And yeah, in fact, with that, I do in fact conclude my presentation altogether. Now, here you will find the details for Simon. If you're interested in what you saw, by all means, I do recommend, I strongly suggest that you guys go visit APS, Mod Sensor, as well as Rittal, to see this in action, to see this happening in real life in front of you. What I showcased was just on a computer screen for you. When you see it live in front of you, it all just comes together, how fast this entire point-to-point solution is. Thank you very much for attending, and this session will be recorded. Thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you very much.